So my talk today is about mobile should not be an afterthought for e-commerce success. A little bit about me. I've chosen my travel destinations for coffee. Been to Hawaii and the Big Island to try various Kona coffees at various coffee plantations. Been to Jamaica for Blue Mountain coffee. And I'm planning a trip to Italy in May, the home of espresso. So coffee's a great love of mine. If you saw over my shoulder, I positioned the camera so you could see my little barista setup with a small espresso machine and grinder. One day I aspire to have a cafe-worthy setup, but that's to meet with wife approval, of course. So I graduated with a metallurgy and material science engineering degree, which is steelmaking, biomaterials, ceramics. And what I learned during my degree was I didn't want to work in steelmaking, biomaterials, or ceramics. So I joined a software company after graduation, went through customer service, quality assurance, ended up in product. And that's where I found sort of my passion, talking to all the stakeholders, explaining kind of the context, the constraints, but being able to communicate to get to a that makes sense moment for all parties involved. I've had a long history with mobile. I delivered image and video software when I worked at a company called MGI Software in Richmond Hill for Palm devices. It was the first color screen they were launching with. So we worked with them and we got an amazing 8 seconds of video using the Palm device memory. And using the largest SD card on the market, it was up to 30 seconds. I've worked on navigation software before Google Maps, so it was for Nokia, Linux, and Windows ME devices. It was a company called Destinator, so did everything Google Maps does, but on different devices. That was a great startup software company, and now I'm working with theAppLabb, delivering Android and iOS native complex mobile solutions, where I'm the director of product for e-commerce and retail. So that's what I'll be talking to you about today, is how mobile and what we see moving forward. We're sorry, that's the dog. A company that's launched over 750 mobile apps. We're coming up on 150 e-commerce and retail focused. We have offices around the world, been around for over 15 years, working with clients, and mobile's in our DNA, building out for the human experience, directly for people, understanding technology, being that product partner for people who, maybe they're a grocery client and they're focused on supply chain product issues, giving that innovation and product strategy consulting to get the business outcomes they need. I'll just show you a quick excerpt of some of the products that we've worked on. We work in English, multilingual French, Spanish. We have clients in Canada, the US, Mexico, to personalize the mobile experience and deliver complex integration and custom applications. So one of the things that I think and we think is COVID's accelerated the adoption of mobile commerce and e-commerce by 5 to 10 years. 75% of people tried new purchasing behaviors because of COVID and because the inability to go to the store and see it, feel it, touch it, buy it. So we're expecting more sales, more customers, more repeat business, larger basket sizes, all will be trends in 2023, 2024, as the novelty of being in person wears off. So, we saw people when the restrictions ended, they were able to kind of rush out, get that in-person interaction. Now people kind of have experienced that and they're like, well, why do I want to talk to people? I can just order it on my phone, or online. We're seeing Andy. People are buying their beds online. Wayfair, they're shipping you, your bedside tables, the lamp you needed for your living room. You can furnish anything in your household with it, a dining room table. And we're seeing Temu, who just launched a Chinese company, and it's basically, you can see anything and everything you'd see in a dollar store. It's easy, convenient, and it's delivered, so you don't have to have uncomfortable in-person interactions. People would much rather order things online than talk to people. I'm just bringing up examples of the differences between the desktop and mobile journey. Here you can see Amazon. I think people know that there's a difference, but I think showing them side to side shows you how much of a difference the mobile journey should be versus the desktop. So people talk about adaptive and resizing, and then there's creating a specific mobile journey for customers. So you can see Amazon's chosen a specific mobile solution. They've focused on what they think is important for the mobile user. The product image is front and center. The options, the mobile navigation centers on the shopping experience, the account, the cart, and then they hide options underneath the menu. But they still have things like the reviews, so you have the validation of products by other users, and it just showcases the difference between the information available where people tend to research products on the web versus on mobile. It's much more impulse driven to purchase and buy. I brought up another example of Best Buy. You can see that Best Buy chooses to have a lot more imagery and simplicity presented front and center. And the mobile, they've chosen to have the add to cart and pick up at store as the main actions for users. So they're driving that purchase journey, and they still have things like the account and the cart, but those are in the navigation on the menu bar at the top. You can see that people can favorite things, but you still have the social proof and validation of the reviews. But you can see also from the website to the mobile, there's no consensus on exactly what everything or the best practices. Everybody right now is still choosing their own way of doing things, just as you see every store has certain things in common, but every store layout's different. One of the things I wanted to mention was for mobile, it's the immediacy and urgency that really sets mobile apart from desktop and other avenues. 70% of mobile searches lead to action within 1 hour. People are actively wanting to do something when they're on their phones, where desktop searches would take a month to reach a 70% action rate. And that just reflects that on the desktop, when people have opened up their computers, they could be doing research, they could be thinking, but they're not motivated to buy at that time. And it's a very different experience on mobile. The marketing channels, we've seen shifts over times with 1700s, the newspapers moving to magazine advertising, radio advertising, mass market with television. The 2000s bringing, Google and Facebook, internet advertising. And basically what we're seeing now is trends where influencer marketing is more and more a prevalent way of reaching people and connecting to an audience. Mr. Beast, a top 5 YouTuber, launched a hamburger business just based on his audience alone. Recently, there's been posts of Mr. Beast asking his followers to go into stores and clean up his display of chocolate bars, and people are posting it for social likes, that they're helping out Mr. Beast, a multimillionaire, run his business because of the connection they feel as his audience. And just after the Super Bowl, he was quoted as, if anyone wants to reach 100 million people for less than $7 million, which is the cost of a Super Bowl spot, he's ready to talk to brands. So the social validation and influencer marketing, I think, especially on mobile with people going through TikTok and Instagram, it's a huge trend, and is definitely changing the face of e-commerce. As well as that, we're seeing personalization where people are expecting brands to know who they are, meet them where they are, know who they are, provide offers directly for them, and check in and make sure that they brand knows what they need and want. 35% of companies have said that they've achieved an omni-channel personalization. So moving from the web to mobile, to even sort of the in-store experience, they're able to carry through the information of people and, being able to present that. So we're seeing there's not just the expectation, but it increases purchase interest. And with, the talk about AI, with ChatGPT and other things, we're seeing that AI-driven personalization will be at the forefront of new implementations, whether that's online, e-commerce, or mobile. So mobile shouldn't be the only commerce vehicle, but it's definitely an important play in the mix. 82% of people want to see online before going and buying, so they don't want to waste a trip to the store. So whether it's on their mobile or desktop, people are going to be looking at the products on offer. People will start the journey on mobile, but then pick up in store. So stores can show their inventory. Canadian Tire tells you which aisle you can go to when you do your searches online, so that you can know that it's not just at the store, but how to find it and shortcut your journey. People want their profile information shared across multiple channels. So just like your Amazon wish list, you can put things on it on your desktop. And when you're, in the passenger seat of a car, you can, finalize the purchase and pick that thing up, knowing it's going to be, delivered to your house next day. And almost half, and I think that's going to be a growing number of shoppers, want a personalized experience. For omnichannel success, there's a number of factors. It's important to have a comprehensive strategy. So how are you going to go across channels? If you have a retail store, if you have an online web store and mobile, choosing the right e-commerce platform, looking at your mobile traffic, who are your users, what are they trying to do, what do you want to accomplish with them, integrating your social media, doing fulfillment planning, whether that's picking up in store, delivery, click and collect like at Loblaws, managing your customer data. First party data is hugely important now that there's privacy legislation. Apple's famously restricted information that you get through iOS, the European GDPR regulations. So having that first party customer data is more and more important. And a lot of companies are feeling that they're not using the information they're currently collecting very well. Customer service, so having AI-driven chatbots to answer the first questions for customers, but then connecting them online through chats before they go through more expensive channels like phones or emails, and then making sure you have KPIs that are used for strategic investments. If you're not measuring it, if you're not tracking it, you're not understanding what's happening with your business. So it's important to make sure analytics is a part of your overall omni-channel strategy. Omni-channel strategies, just wanted to go through some examples. Loblaws has an online store, self-checkout, digital shelf labels, Instacart partnerships, loyalty programs through PC Optimum. They have a partnership with Uber for delivery, and they've been launching a PC chef platform. So Loblaws has click and collect. You can browse shop, and then you don't actually have to see people at the retail place. Nike has Nike Plus membership, Nike apps, Nike by You, Nike integrated inventory, so you can see what's online and make it easy to shop. Best Buy, they have online store, in-store pickups, price matching, the Geek Squad for servicing if you have any problems with your electronics, and they've just launched drive-by returns. For a mobile strategy, it's important to understand that it's a different customer journey. So your desktop that isn't the same default as what you're going to see on mobile. You need to focus on the experience. You need to make sure that you're doing the things that the customer finds most important, making those immediately available in the shortest number of clicks, create shortcuts. And if you have complex tasks, it's okay to have people start on mobile and then push them to web. For an example would be filling out a complicated form. So if people are like wanting to maybe start a return, they could start it on their mobile, but then fill out the details, add images or things like that during a return session to complete the information that would be needed to capture that return. Notifications are hugely important because they're personalized. They create a sense of urgency. You can leverage social proof with them on providing information about who else bought the products that they're looking at, or if they left their cart, to say, hey, there was 6 of these bought already, and then always the ability to offer a discount or coupon to close that sale and close that buying purchase. Mobile is always on hand. The numbers are crazy. 344 times a day, people will check their phones. That's about once every 4 minutes. So if it seems like people are stuck to their phones, it's true. Mobile use has increased to 5.5 hours in 2022. It's up from just under 4 hours, about 3 hours and 42 minutes in 2020. So people have been having a huge increase in their connectivity through mobile and what they can do with their devices. Mobile's changing shopping. You can see AR, VR. You can see products in your home, so you can place them in your home before you buy them. They can be navigating applications and findings. So we talked about Canadian Tire, showcasing where they are, helping people complete that purchase journey. It can be a digital checklist. It can be a companion app, and it can be something that mobile use. You see people lined up in line with their carts, and they're going to be on their phones. We think mobile is really mandatory. We've seen e-commerce platforms that say that they're only offering web or adaptive experiences, and we think that that's not enough anymore. Millennials and Generation Z prefer to use their mobile devices for all online activities, including shopping. 58% of the total multi-device purchases made in 2020 complete on mobile devices, and they offer mobile devices offer more convenience and better accessibility. There's a lot of considerations when building for mobile. It's about the mobile stickiness. Once you have somebody with your app and you're able to fulfill their needs and build a connection, it builds a relationship. So now you've built a moat around your audience. There is a barrier to entry because there's a download and usually a registration process. So it's sort of a hill to climb, but once you've gotten there, it's hugely valuable to be able to speak to your audience through mobile. There's a commitment that you need to put in for a development team because usually you need an iOS and Android experienced developer to build native apps. And we've seen sometimes the tech stack is not the same. So mobile APIs aren't always the same as web APIs. An instance is Shopify. They don't provide the same access through mobile as they do web, but we're experienced in building the bridges that need to, so that the experience is just as good, if not better, on mobile than you would have on web. When you're building mobile applications, having native applications means there's a seamless uptake. You have better access to the hardware. You have better access to libraries. It's easier to do integrations. So it's just setting the expectations for users. It's not that people don't like change. It's they don't like learning things over and over again and then learning, something special just to use your application. And for mobile, there's a variety of third-party integrations that you can take advantage of. Klaviyo, Yotpo, Contentful, for loyalty, subscription, content, and others. So there's a lot of tools that not only help you navigate mobile, but also can enhance your e-commerce journey and build your audience. We see there's huge opportunities for mobile. You can have a feature leading situation where you're building for mobile first. When you're delivering things like, when you're delivering new features, you can deliver them on mobile first. You can tell a story in the moment. People can scan QR codes in the store, so it can tell a farm-to-table story. It can show you what brands are doing and connect to your audience. And you can build from existing relationships. A case in point is Uber Eats has group ordering, so you can easily send a link out to everybody on their mobile, knowing that they can join an order. And it's easy to build those types of things from the contacts that are easily accessible on your mobile phone. So that was my talk. theAppLabb is your product and mobile strategy partner.
Awesome, Brock. Thank you so much. Yeah, awesome content, man. Loved that. Scary facts. Very insightful facts, that's for sure. You're talking about people touching their phone 344 times a day. And I think it's so interesting. You were kind of comparing, that web experience to the mobile experience, and the value of kind of one and the other. Obviously, want to open it up to Q&A as well. It was pretty exciting to see at the start of your talk, we had like a dozen people on LinkedIn as well checking in to watch your talk. So we've got 50 odd people here, and there was another dozen on LinkedIn. So some great engagement there. Once again, want to open it up to Q&A for the audience for the next kind of 30 seconds. So if you do have any questions about product management, design in software and mobile, I think Brock is in a very good position to kind of comment. I might kind of kick things off there as well. When kind of looking at what was really interesting was kind of seeing that the software and mobile, and that was one of the big kind of carrots for today's event is kind of the difference of those two platforms, I guess you could say. What are some of the main differences and considerations from a product perspective when maybe advertising or branding a product on one platform, and what are the kind of customer goals and objectives maybe when choosing one medium or another?
Well, I think web and mobile, it's never either or. We think it's both together.
Mm-hmm.
But it's most important that you're designing the customer journey for each platform. The web, it's about research, it's about information, it's about navigation, and you can complete complex tasks. On mobile, it's about surfacing the most important pieces of the customer journey, understanding that it's immediate, and the notifications, the way you can communicate with them. On the web, you're sending an email, and probably 9 out of 10 times people aren't reading it. On mobile, you're sending a notification, and probably 9 out of 10 times they're responding to it. They're looking at it. So the attention that you can get, and if you're doing it right with personalization, the audience building and connection that you can get, I think it's second to none on mobile. So it's something that you should consider, but it's a different customer journey for web, and it's a different customer journey for mobile, the way we see it. People take shortcuts and say, well, if it resizes to the mobile, it's good enough. And I don't think that's what most customers expect anymore, especially not from purchasing decisions. They might accept it from some applications that they're not spending money through, but I think that the journey that way is hugely important. and it's just, there's a lot of convenience in mobile with payment integrations that are, sort of almost one click with Google Pay and Apple Pay and things like that, where now on the web, it's usually you're still entering your credit card details and things like that. So it's just the convenience factor and the way you're able to build the relationship with them on mobile that we see as a huge boost to the retail and e-commerce sector.
Awesome. No, thanks for sharing. We've got a question here from Virat. Thanks for your question there, Virat. Virat has asked, how do you go on continuous discovery in e-commerce platform, specifically in the app experience team?
So I think it's all about the analytics that are important to you and that you collect. You can see a lot of things that are happening on Google Analytics, but it's also important to understand what's going on in the app as well and where people are dropping off. So you can put tags and things like that to understand what's happening with the customer journey. So we're looking at that to understand what's working, what's not working, and continue to explore and expand on how that app experience can be. We've launched some apps and we've seen the way things are. We built them to expect the customer to do things, and that's a good way to start. But then what we want to be doing is guiding the customer on the journey and saying, what about this? Why don't you do this? And setting things up maybe in the profile section so that they don't have to be repeated. So for us, it's about understanding what the customer is doing and then trying to take those assumptions and then present the best possible journey.
Awesome. Thanks for the question and the response there, Brock. I had a final question as well, because I have a lot of ideas, maybe ADD, but I'm like, oh, what about this? What about this? I have a recruitment business. It's awesome. We're doing great. But I've always had this idea of like a kind of side hustle thing. And it's we'll kind of delve into that. My question for you, Brock, is in what instance would you ever recommend a pure mobile play or a pure web play to a client, and in what instance would you recommend one or the other and say, oh, you just mobile or just web?
I think it's very hard in this day and age to say it's only mobile or web, but there are cases where we have built mobile only apps because that's where it's all about the second screen sort of thing. So people might be watching TV, they might be at a sporting event. So having that kind of companion app, so it's not something that you can sit down and do. I think there's, might be things like accounting software where that would be a web only kind of SaaS implementation. But even so, people would want reports or something like that, on mobile. And I think if you're designing reports and KPIs and things like that, it's almost a dashboard. You want to design it for mobile. I see somebody says that they hate apps and that kind of moat in terms of downloading and having everything, but it's just a design process. I don't think you can design the perfect mobile experience from a web-centric viewpoint.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I didn't see that in the chat. I was on the Q&A there looking, but yeah, Andrew said, am I the only dinosaur who hates apps? Yeah, look, no, it's a great question. And I think, I'd probably side with the theAppLabb on this, that, both is probably better. And, that's, there's certainly pros and cons and some really interesting data there as well, you mentioned. And yeah, really, really fantastic presentation tonight, Brock. And I guess we've been kind of chatting potentially with our audiences and with the theAppLabb about maybe doing some in-person events. So stay tuned for that as well. Nothing guaranteed, but certainly something I'd love to do. And, maybe something in mobile and web, you know what I mean? If we have some products, some engineering. I was chatting with a chap who's a UX kind of guy as well in Toronto. So yeah, I think there's so much to unpack. And again, Brock, just want to say, man, thanks so much for stepping up tonight and dropping some knowledge bombs on us once again. Ladies and gentlemen, Brock from the theAppLabb.
Thanks very much. It was
awesome,
a pleasure.
Man. Yes, sir. Take care. We'll see you around.